The judiciary is the access to justice, is the will, the engine room of every nation. Because justice is the minimum debt you owe to every man. And if you deny that man justice, you have declared him worthless.
I think I like what Remi Tinubu did. The APC right now, with what she did, the APC is not so different from a cult.
You know, if we change our mode of operation, maybe we could get a different response from the government.
Our security parastatals, they lack security intelligence. Impeaching the president now is not the best move for the nation.
Welcome to episode 8 of Reactions. My name is Mr. Sal. Joining me today is Mr. Houston Wanchuku. And we have somebody new today, Barrister Prince Ogugwo. Yeah? Barrister Prince, welcome to Reactions. How are you feeling today?
Thank you very much. I'm feeling well.
All right. It's great to have you today. Mr. Houston, how have you been? How was your week?
My week was good. My week was fine. Had a little health shake, more or less, but I'm a little better now. I'm very well recuperated.
Okay. That's great to hear. Yeah. Before I get to the topics we are going to be reacting today, I'd like to appeal to you guys to subscribe to Page 36 TV on YouTube. We're trying to build our YouTube channel. Please like this video, also subscribe, yeah, and share with your friends on social media. Thank you. So the first topic we're going to be reacting to today. So the former Senate President, Bukola Saraki, on Tuesday called on President Muhammad Buhari to solicit for help over the uncontrollable insecurity ravaging the country. Saraki made the call on Twitter saying, and I quote, "It is obvious that President Muhammad Buhari and the APC government need help. They have been overwhelmed by the situation and they sure need assistance from all. Thus, I urge Mr. President to seek help wherever it can be given. This matter has gone beyond what the government can handle alone. The President should know that calling for help in our present situation is not a sign of weakness." So these are the words from the former Senate President, the immediate past Senate President. So on the same day, President Buhari held a virtual meeting with the United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, calling on the US for support in the fight against the rising insecurity in the country under his watch. President Buhari stated that the support is very necessary because the consequences of insecurity in Nigeria would affect all nations if not addressed properly. So we have the former Senate President who on Tuesday, he released this statement on Twitter. I think it's Twitter released this statement calling on the president to seek for help because the president has been very quiet in terms of speaking to us. So we really don't know what his plans are in terms of the rising insecurity in Nigeria. There have been a lot of happenings, be the attacks on security agencies like police stations, even army formations, the killings in the Middle Belt, in the Northwest, in the Northeast. So Saraki appealed to the president. He says he thinks it is time for the president to seek for help. He says asking for help right now does not show weakness. So what do you think about this call? Do you think we're at a point where the president needs help or Nigeria needs help and we need the president to actually ask for help for us? Mr. Houston. Yeah.
Okay. With regards to the president asking for or seeking help from the international community, it's not necessarily a bad gesture by the former Senate president to have asked the president to seek for help. It's imperative that when you encounter such problems, especially problems that are targeted at your country's security architecture, you should seek international help. So clearly, it's a good demand, or it's a good advice for the president to ask to seek help, international help. But you know what's more imperative, what's more important than that is we've asked for help before. Nigeria as a country has actually sought help. Like we once sought help from Britain and some other countries. And this was this was during the Civil War. And they got that help they wanted. But the problems or the reason for the cause of the Civil War were not addressed. Even after the Civil War, the problems, the crux of the problems were still not addressed.
What were those problems?
It will take me a longer time to talk about it, because I mean, this is not really the question, but then it will take me a long time to talk about that. We had so many causes. We have remote causes, we had immediate causes, and so many other things, relative causes, but we won't really go into that right now, or I wouldn't be able to go into that right now. But I'm only trying to say a lot of these causes, a lot of these problems weren't addressed. They only sought help from international organizations, from the international community, and they got this help. And what happened? They ended up victorious. They won the war against their brothers, the Biafrans. And in 1970, they declared the end of the war and compensated the Biafrans with some meager amount and whatever it is. But if anybody goes back into history and relays whatever has happened between 1970 and now, you realize that a part of this country, a particular geopolitical zone, are still disgruntled about the settlement till this day, which is also another problem that's been brewing since 1970, since the end of the war. The war ended with a particular mantra by the then head of state: no victor, no vanquished. That's no winner and no loser, sort of. But the actions didn't elucidate this mantra. The action of the federal government since then till this time, we've not had one person from this particular geopolitical zone rule this country. We've not had adequate representation from this geopolitical zone. So we've had problems, it's like a lingering problem ever since then. And no president, successive administrations have deemed it fit rather to address this particular issue. Now we're having another security challenge in this country right now. This time around, it is one that is targeted at our security architecture, and we're asking for help. I think it is much more important that we address where the grievances are coming from. You don't just, when I think it's in Pidgin, they say something you don't understand, you call it juju, or something you don't understand, you call it winch. It's easy to prescribe a group. Anybody who seeks something, you prescribe a group. But before people decide to get violent, terrorists are not mad people. These are very sane people using radical approach to express their claims or their concerns or their needs. I remember this Boko Haram issue started from a classroom. It started from a mosque or a setting, an institutional setting where they were teaching their ideals. And it spiraled into the radical approach. And today, it's a problem to the whole country. The IPOB thing started small too. It was from one radio station broadcast. It spiraled into something bigger. Is there going to be a problem if a disgruntled group states their claim and at the end of the day addressed without persecution first, like say you get arrested or you look for anybody who's supporting these people? I think on my way to this place, I was in the car and the Uber that brought me was asking me, the Uber driver was asking me, what do you think the problem with this country is? I told him, well, you can go on and on and on, but I think the problem with this country is two things. It is respect and truth. These are under respect and truth, you could make so many other headings and subheadings rather, but I think respect and truth. If we tell ourselves the truth and if we're able to respect each other mutually, we won't have much of the problems that we have. I know some people come out and refuse to negotiate. Some people do not want to listen, but I think if the president starts to address these problems that we're having. Now, I'm not speaking for the terrorist attacks in the north because I haven't lived in the north. I wouldn't say I'm not affected because everything that happens in Nigeria, one way or the other, affects the common Nigerian. But then I'm speaking with regards to what's going on in the south. Now in Nigeria, we have the group of people, this particular group of people in Ogun State are advocating the Republic of Oduduwa. You have these ones in the east, southeast, advocating the Republic of Biafra and all that. This thing started from it started from an intellectual argument or mind argument and all that, and they weren't addressed. So I think it's best when people bring problems to their parent or a parent figure, and the parent figure addresses these problems before it spirals into something bigger. So if we ask for international community assistance today, or international or say foreign assistance to the military assistance or security assistance, and we get it today, do you know what's going on in Afghanistan? Joe Biden has agreed with the Taliban. They finally reached an agreement with the Taliban to pull out the United States troops from the 1st of May. And the Taliban are already threatening the Afghanistan military that they are going to come in. So it's only going to keep these people at bay for a particular period of time. And because the international assistance you're getting wouldn't be here forever, once they leave, you have bigger problem. You have bigger fish to fry. So I think it is imperative that we seek that assistance, but at the same time, we should also address the issue on ground. Nigeria is multi-tribal. Nigeria is a cosmopolitan country with all the groups we have in this country and all the subgroups we have in this country. A lot of them are disgruntled. A lot of them are dissatisfied with how they're being represented, how they're being treated, and the level of respect that's being shown to them. They have recognition issues and all these other things. If these things are not addressed, the foreign assistance will only come in and it will go. And people will come up again, because you need to understand something, that the terrorists or the restive youths that you're fighting today, they have children. And when their children are being told the stories of their fathers, their children will take up arms. And if you kill their children have children. So you don't necessarily kill your enemy. You can't kill your enemy. Sometimes you need to address these things, nip it in the bud, immediately start. So that's my take.
Barrister Prince, on Tuesday, the president held a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State. You know, he actually asked for help in terms of the insecurity we're dealing with right now. But he stated something, you know, his reason, which I want to tackle you on right now. So he said the reason he's asking for help, or why the US needs to, or the international community need to come and help, is to prevent whatever is going on in Nigeria from affecting the rest of the world. You know, so do you think that's the only reason we need foreign aid right now in terms of the uncontrollable insecurity we're facing right now? Yeah.
I totally disagree with Mr. President, with all due respect. First of all, Nigerians as a people are the first victims of the security threats and issues we are having in this country. So it is far beyond saying it is going to affect the other nations of the world. We are the ones who are bearing the brunt of this damage. So the president cannot say that the other nations of the world are going to suffer more if these security issues continue or linger. So I think what we should consider or limit our thoughts to is, how do we, just like my friend here submitted, how do we nip this at the bud? The major issue we have is this insecurity is eating up Nigeria, and Nigeria is slowly becoming a failed state. And that is why we need to rise to the occasion. The call for international intervention is a step in the right direction to safeguard us first as a people, because the sovereignty of this country does not limit you to reach out to other nations to assist us on issues of insecurity, because security is vital to every growth, to the growth of every nation. First of all, economy. Two, the lives of the people. A nation cannot exist in abeyance. You need to be in that nation for the nation to exist. So it is not about other countries or other nations of the world being affected eventually, but it is about we Nigerians being alive in our country and also to ensure the existence of this country.
Okay,
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
What he just said made a lot of sense. And I've also come to realize again that the character of the president in question is also something we need to take into consideration, because the last administration, we noticed that this dissatisfaction amongst the tribes in Nigeria, or amongst the different ethnic groups in Nigeria, the numerous ethnic groups in Nigeria, this dissatisfaction has been there for as long as I can remember. But the last administration tried to do something to ameliorate this issue by organizing a national conference. The administration that we have in place at the moment, I have never seen a day or heard by radio where the president sat down with a few think tanks or anybody who is interested or anybody who will be willing to help solve the problem. I've never seen him say, Nigerians, come together with your representative, or put out, like, even if it's a question out there for Nigerians, how do we solve the problem of this country? So I don't even think the president recognizes that this country has an identity problem.
And that brings me to the question I wanted to ask Barrister Prince. We're talking about seeking for help, seeking for international help. What help do you think the president requires from these people right now? What do you think he knows the problem is? And what exactly do we need from these communities? What are we asking, or what should we be asking them for? In terms of what's going on right now?
What we need, most importantly, is security intelligence. Because if you don't know where the rain started, you won't know where the rain will stop. I think the Nigerian military, our security parastatals, they lack security intelligence. And there is a need for multidimensional response to this issue. I don't even understand
break that down, for people to understand.
If you look at what is happening in Nigeria now, different regions of the state, of the country, is coming up with one issue or the other. First, it started as Boko Haram. It metamorphosed into herdsmen. It's from there bandits. Now it is coming down to the southeast. And we don't even know how to categorize them.
Whatever is going on in the southeast.
That is why there is need for a multidimensional response. Let us go back to our localities and look at the root of these problems. And you can't do that without security intelligence. And that is where we as a nation, we are lacking. This government, or Nigeria as a whole, lacks security intelligence. That is why we need these international bodies, these other nations to come in and assist us in that aspect.
Wow. You agree with that? Or do you think we need something differently?
I think in one of the past episodes, we had a question where you asked me if I agreed with one of the senators on military, if the military is under populated, or if the military needs more people.
Yeah, they were saying they needed more.
Yes, I think right now the military is something a lot of us, I think sometimes we're not really being fair to the military in Nigeria. I think the military is actually overstretched. The military really is overstretched. That's one. Second of all, I think the military also they're not properly equipped. They're under-equipped. It is fact that the Nigerian military or the Nigerian security apparatus is under-equipped, because
But who do we blame for them being under-equipped? That's a different topic right now.
That's a different topic.
We cannot go to those people right now to be asking them for equipment when there's a 1 billion that is hanging somewhere. That we don't know what has happened to the 1 billion.
I feel the problem we have in the military is corruption, actually. Because since the inception of the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, when this Boko Haram saga began, we've always been funding the military.
Yeah.
So the question is, what
is happening to
those funds? there is no accountability, there is no responsibility. Because if I reject 30 billion or 2 billion or whatever it is into
dollars.
then there should be accountability. Show us what you have gotten and show us the progress you have made with all this funding. But we are not receiving that. We are not getting that. So I think the major problem we have in the military in fighting insecurity is corruption. Because an army does not operate on an empty stomach. If you go closer to these military officers, they will complain and tell you their ordeals. A lot of them are being deprived of their entitlements. And there is no way you will fight with your whole heart if you are not giving what is due to you. But one man is sitting down there with all due respect, siphoning these funds, and come back tomorrow to say,
why do we have to respect them, though? If somebody is stealing, then I'm not giving you any due respect.
No. It's not the wrong thing for him to give them respect. I mean, he's not doing that from the angle of he's not taking it personally. He's an African first. He's an African first, and as Nigerians, we actually respect our elders. That's why he's doing.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask though, you guys just lay down some of these problems, which we are aware that the international community, which we're seeking for help right now, they should be aware of these issues that we are dealing with in the army in terms of alleged corruption, in terms of the siphoning of these monies. With all they know and with all that is out there, do you believe these people will actually come and help us?
Well, they will come because it is statutory to, render help to an allied nation when they are having security challenges. It's only statutory that you assist an allied country. So it's
all right. Let's move to our next topic. So, a First Republic Minister of Aviation, Zulike Amechi, has accused the President Muhammad Buhari federal government of staging the attacks on security agencies in the Southeast region for the sole purpose of making the indigenous people of Biafra look like a terrorist organization to prevent them from a successful agitation for an independent state of Biafra. He said, who is investigating these attacks? The police are investigating the IPOB. Can the police investigate the government or themselves? What is happening now is like what Hitler did against the Jews, sent their secret service men to commit certain crimes and got back to accuse the Jews. He continued to say, I believe the federal government, are sending them to commit these attacks and burning of properties, so that the impression will be that IPOB is behind it, in order for them to either kill them or declare a state of emergency in Igbo land, or do whatever they like, or completely kill the Igbos the way they like. So we just talked earlier, we mentioned, though we didn't talk about that, the attacks that have been going on in the Southeast. Yeah, there have been attacks on police stations, mostly police stations, which is a weird. Very successful attacks, more than 5 or 6 so far. So now this former Minister of Aviation, Mr. Amechi, is saying that the federal government is staging these attacks because all the attacks that have happened in the Southeast, the police have come out to say IPOB and their security agency, that's the Eastern Security Network, are responsible for these attacks. But the Igbos are saying, how do you know that IPOB is responsible? Have you done your proper investigation? And now they are further accusing the government of carrying out these attacks to prevent IPOB from succeeding in their agitation for an independent state. So, Barrister Prince, you're from the East, yeah? So do you believe, first of all, do you believe the federal government will go this far? Just to, because we know they are totally against the agitation for an independent state of Biafra. But do you think, according to Mr. Amechi, that the government will go this far to carry out attacks on their own security agencies, just to make this group look like a terrorist group which they are prescribed it to be?
Right. Honestly, what Mr. Meche have said, with all due respect to me, is mere speculation.
Okay.
And no reasonable man will take that serious without any intent to insult him.
Okay.
The government has a mapped out responsibility. And how can you tell me you are fighting your own security agencies just to create an erroneous impression?
He said staging.
Staging.
Yeah.
We are still saying the same thing. It doesn't make sense to me. So that is why I said earlier, on the first issue we treated, there is need to understand the local dynamics of these security threats. Because if you don't know where the rain started beating you from, you won't even know where the rain will stop. We need to come down to the east, sit down with these people and say, what do you want?
Yeah, but Barrister Prince, sorry to cut you short. How do you explain to me a government in power? There was an attack on the first security agencies. You did not beef up security. There was an attack on the second one, the third one, the fourth one, fifth one, consistent attacks. That's the logic I'm using here to look at the whole thing, because we cannot just, fine, we expect the government to be responsible, to be whatever. But how do we now explain these successful attacks? Not just attacks, they go there, they burn down these police stations. Sometimes they operate there for like 2 hours or even over. How does that happen in a sane society where we have a responsible government?
Good. Sir, you first said you ended with a responsible government.
Yes.
With all due respect, I stated clear that this government is not responsible. What do you describe a responsible government to be? A responsible government is a government that is responsive to the demands, agitations of his people. This is a government led on behalf of Nigerians. So if there's any issue affecting us, what you should do is take positive steps to address those issues. So where the government, the president-led administration, Buhari-led administration, have failed or refused or neglected these demands, then you can't tag him a responsible government. This is not the first time the president goes mute on serious national issues. Right from the times of this pandemic, it took the president a lot to address Nigerians. But the United States on daily basis, even when his government was being attacked, the President Trump administration, he was still coming out to address the Americans because he understands the sanctity of his position. The office of the president is sacrosanct and it requires a high level of responsiveness because you are the face of the nation. Whatever that happens to the country, you will be held responsible. Now, where a government mutes or zones out on his people, you can't tag him responsible. So I am not surprised with the action of this government because they are not being responsive. And I don't want to speculate alongside Mr. Amechi, just like you have quoted here. That is why I am being very, very careful to address this issue.
Mr. Houston, what do you think about Mr. Amechi's statement saying that, what he said, that the federal government is responsible for
I think, first, I really don't have much to say with regards to what Mr. Amechi said.
Why?
But if you would take into consideration a few factors. First, it's a huge claim. That's a very huge claim.
How old is claim? And they have not.
No. How old is Mr. Amechi? First Republic Aviation Minister. That means he still has. He's still amongst one of those people I'm telling you that is disgruntled.
Yeah,
so no, wait.
Ignore the messenger, right?
No, you cannot necessarily ignore the messenger.
Why can we not?
I've told you this before. Even in Sparta, the cradle of democracy, a messenger is responsible for the words he delivers. So it's unfortunately you cannot disregard the messenger here. So it's a huge claim. Do you understand? This is among the first disgruntled people, citizens. This is a senior citizen, for crying out loud, saying this. Secondly, what's it called? He's not also, what do you call him? Aviation minister. You didn't call him security expert. Former aviation. And I don't know what's the nexus between aviation and security. So he's not a security expert. So I really don't have much to say. I want to disregard it as much as as just as a speculation.
So you don't think this federal government is capable of such acts?
To what end?
This government.
But you know the fight against IPOB.
No. Let me
But
say
we
this.
have other issues in other regions of the country.
Let me come in here, if you do not mind. I would agree that there is nothing impossible with the things that I've seen in my so years of living in this country. There is nothing impossible. You get me? So you also said something about the government's action not beefing security up if this man, Amici, is slightly, if it could be right with his statement. Well, I also want to ask you that if you want to rely on that, or if that's how you want to judge, that's how much you want to judge truth from Mr. Amici's statement.
I'm not judging.
Then also consider the capital. I mean, the seat of the capital city of the country. I mean, the federal capital territory. What's happening? They've been kidnapping people in Kaduna State. That's a border state.
Very close. And Niger.
They killed Alex Badi. They shot Alex Badi, the former Air Force chief. They shot him here in Nasarawa. Boko Haram hoisted the flag at Niger State. Have you seen any border security? Still, this point, we don't have security in Abuja. We don't have security in Abuja. I keep telling people, on the 14th of April 2014, there was a bomb blast at Nyanya. And you know what happened? A few hours, it wasn't a day after, hours after. At every entrance into Abuja, they beefed up security. Everywhere you could enter Abuja from. They had to search you. They had all kinds of searching device just to make sure people weren't coming in with bombs. So it doesn't really have to happen inside Abuja before you start beefing up security. But that will tell you, just like he said rightly, that will tell you how much of a responsive government or how much responsibility a government is willing to take to beef up security. So on that ground, not beefing up security in Imo State, which also goes to let you know that Imo State is not a priority to the present administration. What does Imo add? I want to ask you, what does Imo State
an APC
add?
state now.
Oh, because it's an APC state. You see what? And that's exactly what the governor said the other time. He said an APC state. They are trying to do this to discredit the name of the Buhari-led government. For crying out loud,
okay.
Please. I think
we have. Can I come here?
Yeah,
I think we have a lot of psychophants representing us in different levels of governance.
Wow.
Now, if you say the government wants to black label the IPOB members, what happens to the banditry, the kidnapping going on in the northern states? Will you not say this government wants to Islamize Nigeria?
Some people are saying that already.
And that is why we need to take away these sentiments and be objective. Look at this issue holistically and say, how do we tackle this issue? There is an issue before us, and that is security issue.
Yeah.
So let us take away this sentiment and biased views and look at what is before us. How do we tackle these issues? Let us go back to the drawing board, reach out to other nations to come to our aid and wipe out this once and for all. Not from the roots, just like my friend said.
Yeah.
From the roots, let us wipe it out. Address all the issues that is springing up.
You're making a lot of sense. But you need to also understand now that this is what we are thinking as a people. From all your statement here, you said, let us.
He's calling on the government.
No, he's calling on the government, but it's more about we are thinking, we as citizens are thinking for the government. But the government leave room for all of these speculations. They are the ones causing all the speculations because they are not acting. If you ask now, what are they doing? The military, the chief of army staff is handling this. We held a security meeting. I mean, you've been holding meetings. The other day I was here rooting for the chief of army staff because he held a meeting with the chief of staff, chief of military in Cameroon. For crying out loud, please.
Let's move to Dr. Pantami. Yeah. So, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, who has been accused of supporting terrorism in the past and still remains in office, despite intense calls for his resignation, has raised an alarm over plans by people he termed as evil to release a doctored video of him in a compromising condition. A statement by his spokesperson, Uwa Suleiman, reads, it's a long quote though, so sorry. We're in receipt of credible intelligence that the same forces who have been championing a well-coordinated and richly funded campaign, well-coordinated and richly funded campaign against the Honorable Minister of Communication are now onto the next stage of their diabolic project. The quotation continues, this time around, the forces of evil are shopping for willing partners as well as their usual avenues to release doctored videos purporting to show the minister in an alleged compromising condition as a way of creating injury to his image. After concocting lies, still on the quote, and half-truths linking the Honorable Minister with terrorism, despite his well-documented stance against Boko Haram and similar groups, these adversaries went to the extent of doctoring a document with the capacity to endanger national security. It was a relief for peace-loving Nigerians that the gimmick also failed to strike that sensitive chord. This notice, therefore, is to alert the public to the latest ungodly plan and to warn the perpetrators about the consequences of such action. The Honorable Minister will not sit idle to see his hard-earned reputation as a respected community leader, Islamic scholar, and a public servant being muddled in the mud by paid agents with no adherence to truth and fear of God. So, the minister, as we know, who has been accused of ties or supporting terrorism or terrorists in the past, allegedly, has come out to accuse people he termed as evil people of plotting right now to release a video. So right now they're saying there is a doctored video that's about to be released. I don't know what video they are talking about, but he's claiming that these paid agents, as he termed them, are trying to release a video right now to blackmail him and destroy his hard-earned image. Mr. Houston, please, what do you think about this alarm by Dr. Pantami of a new video that's about to be released and is calling it doctored? What are they scared of? What's this about?
This is the third time we're talking about Pantami.
Yes.
The issues we have in the country are a lot more tougher right now than Pantami. And in all honesty, I have actually moved past Pantami.
But he's still in office though.
Oh,
so
yes.
we cannot really say the issues are tougher. Being in office is still an issue. Yeah.
You want me to tell you people that are still in office?
No.
El Rufai is still in office. He's still causing trouble there. Gabashewu, did you hear the statement he made today? In the name of the presidency, on behalf of the presidency, to autumn. See, as far as I'm concerned right now, the issues we have at hand are bigger than Pantami. This presidency will not remove Pantami. They will not take Pantami.
So we should accept it and leave him like that.
So whether or not we like it, this is our cross to bear. Pantami is our cross to bear. The issue right now with Pantami, I have moved past it. If Pantami would not step down, if the government will not remove him from his seat, myself, there's not much I can actually do. So for me, for my own mental sanity, I have decided to move past Pantami. He's saying half truths. They're about to release this. You already confessed to doing something. We've already seen facts and all that, and more videos. You know, more videos are going to come out, and now you're here. You're giving us a heads up before the videos are released. That see, it's going to be too much drama for me right now. For me right now, I'm thinking about how much we could do as citizens of Nigeria to help with strategies we could come up with to help with our personal security, not even national security anymore, because it's gradually, these people have infiltrated us. It's bigger than we actually say right now. The president is lobbying for international support and international assistance. We as Nigerians right now, we should start thinking about what we can do to beef up our personal security. Pantami is the least of my problem right now.
Anyway, Barrister Prince, what do you think our Honorable Minister of Communication is trying to do by raising this alarm, talking about a doctored video showing him in a compromising condition? I don't know what that means. Okay. What do you think is playing out here?
First, let me start with this submission. A man is assessed by his ideologies and his antecedents, because I don't know what you will do tomorrow. So if I want to know the kind of man you are, I'll look at your ideologies, the positions you've held on certain issues, and what you have done in the past. That notwithstanding, I want to criticize the government on their position over this Pantami issue. We operate a democratic system, and we are the government. You are only there to represent us. That means you serve us. So what you should do as a government in a democratic environment first is to earn our trust and confidence, and also be sensitive to our demands, right? You made an appointment, and the security department comes up with disturbing information about your appointee, and you are still insisting or confirming this appointment. It means you are not paying attention to the demands of your people. Irrespective of the fact we are facing the security issues, that does not take away the side of governance. While you are tackling security, paying attention to the demands of your people, they are all one and the same. So you can't say Nigeria is far past the issues of governance and the demands of the people. We should just concentrate on personal security or security threats and whatever that is befalling us in this country. We should also bring into consideration that security is not only what is concerned in governance. Representation. Have you considered the position that this man is being appointed to? This man controls the database of a nation, and this is his ideologies. These are his positions on silent and sensitive issues affecting the whole world. And you want us to keep calm because we have more pressing demands? No. There is need for us to continue pressing this demand till we see Pantami leave the office. Not because I am judging him as a bad man, but because his antecedents, because his ideologies does not sit down well with me and other populace of the country. I hope you're understanding it. It's not, I am not casting any decision or judgment on him. I'm not questioning his character, but hell, we don't understand your position, and we feel the office you are being appointed to is too sensitive, judging from your past. It's that simple.
Because we have had this nature, and I think if the government are watching us, they can use it against us as well, where they say, oh, these people will just make noise, then they will calm down.
Fine.
You know, if we change our mode of operation, maybe we could get a different response from the government.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
Okay.
Sorry, please just hold your thoughts. Let me make a statement.
Yeah.
After the Biafran War, the late Ojukwu wanted to run for the office of the presidency, and a lot of people didn't support him. One of the fundamental reasons for that was, he said, this man fought for secession, right? If he comes back to rule Nigeria, his major agenda would just be to separate Nigeria. And a lot of people weren't ready. Up to now, we are not ready for another war in this country. No, we don't even want to experience. That was why most Easterners, Southeasterners, didn't support him because of his antecedents. So you cannot take away this to the growth of every nation. Your antecedents plays a vital role, and I cannot appoint you knowing that you stand a chance of repeating what you did in the past, in the future.
Okay. All right. I have a few questions to ask you. Before Pantami,
Yes.
have we had other people who were accused of,
It shouldn't matter.
No. It should matter.
Yeah.
It should matter. Before Pantami, have we had people who were accused of either sponsoring Boko Haram or being friends with Boko Haram members? We've had lots of them. I remember the issue of Hakim Shettima, former governor of Borno State, whom they said was even one of the founders of Boko Haram at some point. No government, this was even during Jonathan's time, no government investigated that. No government brought out any reports, even if they did investigate that. Now, this matter typically died. I'm also going to ask you one last question again. You are an Igbo man, have you?
Of course.
Yes, and you know a little bit about farming.
Yes.
What's the best way to cut down a tree? Thank you. So if we're going to cut down this tree from the root, I think it's best the whole government goes down, and that will be after this administration. You see, right now, if you take down Pantami, there's going to be more Pantamis. As a matter of fact, what makes you think? Because there are reports that say Pantami happens to be the president's personal imam.
Who cares? Why should that matter?
Why should that matter?
Yeah.
Do you take Pantami off that position and retain him still in Asu Rock as the president's imam? Are you really removing Pantami? Wait, that's a personal office.
I get where you're coming from, though.
Wait,
yeah.
because even as much as who was responsible, or who was accused, or who was convicted for stealing arms money? National Security Advisor, right? Fine. Presently now, it's Chief of Army Staff. Everyone is saying the former Chief of Army Staff. See, I'm only trying to say, if this man doesn't do the job, another man will do this job. And as much as
what job?
If Pantami is taken out of his office right now, some other person will come and take Pantami's job. But that doesn't stop Pantami. If actually he is in any way connected with this terrorist, that doesn't stop him from promoting his ideals, taking him out of office. And also, what makes you think that because Pantami's videos are popping up today, what makes you think his students, most of the people, because Pantami is said to be an Islamic teacher, an Islamic cleric. We're focusing so much on the teacher right now, but we're forgetting how many students he's been able to indoctrinate over the years. How many of them are in this government? Buhari has made a lot of lopsided appointments, employments of his people. And we don't know how much of these people happen to be Pantami students. So as I'm saying right now that we should move past Pantami, I think sometimes when you overflog an issue, you somehow give the person a lot of power too. What has the president done to us? He has literally spat on our face. Pantami Monday to Friday, Sunday, Monday to another week. Pantami. Where is he? He's still in office. As a matter of fact, he's still bringing up more ideas to how to help NIN and all these other things. So that means he's still working. So they don't even care about what we're saying. Pantami is still in office. If something big was going to happen, if Pantami didn't leave office, it should have happened since.
You want to say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
With all due respect, my
Okay.
friend, I do not totally agree with you on the issue of ignoring the appointment of Pantami.
You don't still agree?
Yes, I do not agree.
So you don't believe there are more Pantamis in this
that's
government?
fine.
That notwithstanding, that shouldn't be the
Because
reason. The
Pantami
fact
was-
that the government
Pantami was
ignores-
appointed in 2015.
The fact
Sorry,
that
in 2019.
the fact that the government ignores the demands of the people should not be the reason or enough reason for us to
Stop demanding.
yes. So as long as it will take, we will keep on demanding.
Okay.
As long as it will take,
I like that.
one way or the other, this change will come.
Come.
Even if it doesn't come now, right?
Yes,
Fine.
but the change cannot come eventually if we keep quiet.
Fine. So it could take as long as the end of this administration for the change to
If
come.
that is what it will take, but we will not be pessimistic.
That's my point.
We will be hopeful.
I see people till this day. I see people
Okay,
on
now
Twitter that still
look at-
retweet
look-
NSAS till this day.
Okay,
Wait.
let's make a point.
Yeah.
This NSAS protest didn't start today. It started way back 2013, 2012, if I remember. That was when this demand agitation for the end of SARS. But the government didn't pay attention to us then until we took the bull by the horn. So had it been, we closed our mouth and said, this government, let's let them do what they want to do. The NSAS wouldn't be where it is today. So we can't,
Where is it today, please?
I can confidently tell you that it is not as it used to be before. And I know that in no distant time,
I think
youths
the
would-
harassment
It has
the
dropped
harassment in
drastically.
Lagos has dropped. a
not
bit.
just in
Yeah.
Lagos, in every
least for-
state in this country. I can tell you confidently that a young man,
Then why are you laughing? You don't think it has dropped?
You know what?
We don't see. Me, I've not seen SARS. It's just SARS.
I like what you're saying, my brother,
Yeah.
but I don't know if a lot of people. I know people that are usually off social media. I know people that are usually on social media. I'm usually very active on Twitter, and there is no day in Lagos. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, if you were very active online, you realize a European citizen who was being driven by an Uber driver and was arrested on the road. You are under arrest for no reason. The same harassment. It goes on every day. As a matter of fact, it has not stopped a notch lesser than it was in the past.
I
it has not reduced.
I also want you to understand that police brutality or intimidation cannot go away completely. Even in developed countries like United States, we are still experiencing it. So what we are doing is to curb it, to bring it to its barest minimum as much as we can. Just like corruption. Corruption cannot be taken away because it works in pari passu with leadership. Lobbying is corruption, but sometimes it is a necessity. Yes, that is a hard truth. So when we are fighting or raising the issue of police brutality and stuffs of that nature, you can't anticipate it to go totally.
Completely. Yeah.
No.
So basically,
there will always be
you cannot anticipate Pantami under Buhari.
Anyway, let's move on from Dr.
I always wanted to move on from
Pantami
from the beginning.
Let's move on to our next topic. So the All Progressives Congress lawmaker representing Niger East in the Senate, Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, said that this is not the time to impeach President Muhammad Buhari or talk about his impeachment at all, despite the uncontrollable insecurity in the country, warning that this will lead to another crisis. So I'm going to read what he said in quote. You and I know what impeachment is all about. It is another crisis into another crisis. Why do we need that now? What we need is a solution. That's to the insecurity we're facing right now in the country. So it goes on to say, I do not subscribe to a situation whereby because we have the legislative powers to impeach, that we are bringing a motion for impeachment. This is not the time for a motion on impeachment. So Senator Musa has said right now that because there have been calls, for the Senate or the National Assembly to take action, with the rising insecurity in the country, the president is not saying anything. So they're saying impeach the president. The president is incapable, so we have a federal lawmaker coming out right now to say this is not the time to talk about impeachment of the president. And he gave his reason to say that if they move for impeachment, this will be starting a fresh crisis amid the crisis we're dealing with right now. Do you agree with his excuse right now as to why the National Assembly should not and cannot? Maybe they want to, and they have looked at the whole situation, because we know where the president comes from. Most of us were scared in 2015, that if there was no change in government, there was going to be some form of crisis in the country. Because that's where this statement took my mind to. Because you're saying in a normal society, there should not be crisis. Okay, well, there could be, like we saw in America, if you are moving to impeach the president. So, Barrister Prince, do you agree with Senator Musa that this is not the time to call or for them to move for the impeachment of the president amidst the rising insecurity in Nigeria?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will want to approach this question this way, my own way.
Yeah.
My friend said, what we lack in Nigeria is trust. And what again, please? Respect. To me, I feel that what we lack in Nigeria is leadership. Because inside leadership, you will see trust, you will see respect. Actually, I said truth. Truth, sorry. Inside leadership, you will see truth, you will see respect, right? Honestly, to tell ourselves the truth, considering our democratic growth and the state of the nation, we have a lot of sycophants. We have a lot of ignorant people who would do anything for a sect, who is ready to satisfy some of their sentiments. If the president resigns now, there will be crisis. Sorry, if the president is impeached now, there will be crisis.
If he resigns, though,
but
do you
if
think
he
there will
resigns,
be crisis?
No.
You don't think there will be crisis?
Yes. Now, let me tell you, resignation is a thing of honor. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm not mincing words, with all due respect, this government is clueless. I can't say this is the ideology of this government. This is the policy. This is what this government is targeted at. Because leadership is all about knowing the way, showing the way, and going the way. So where is this government taking us to? When Rotimi Amechi was the governor of Rivers State, once you step into Port Harcourt or Rivers State, you will say, okay, this government is focused on infrastructural development. When Godswill Akpabio, I'm not an APC member, but I'm speaking the obvious. When Godswill Akpabio was the governor of Akwa Ibom State, you will say, this government wants to change the infrastructural outlook of the nation. So if I may ask, what is the mission of this government? We've been hearing change.
Next level.
Where are you taking us to? Which corruption?
Oh yeah, they actually said
we
economy.
are not fighting any corruption. Corruption is still on the rise.
And security.
Corruption is still on the rise.
And
but that's not
security, and we have the worst security at this time. Yeah.
But that is by the way.
Okay, yes.
So let's go back to the question. If the president gets impeached today, he has a lot of followers. There will be reactions that will come in a violent way. And we are not stable enough to curb it. Look at what happened in the United States of America. Okay? So to an extent, I agree with him. But if the president resigns honorably because he lacks the political dexterity to man this nation, I don't think the answer will still be the same.
Okay, so you have said right now that you agree that there will be crisis because the president has a lot of supporters. So I want to ask, these supporters that are going to move for this crisis, are they not Nigerians that are seeing whatever is happening right now that could result or that could have resulted in the National Assembly moving for the impeachment of the president? Because for you to move for impeachment, that means that somebody is not doing what they are supposed to be doing. Somebody is incompetent, So what does that tell us as a nation? What does that say as a people? Is it that these people don't care about the development of this country, or that they put this man who they support and revere so much above even the security of their brothers and their sisters?
Yes, just like I said before I started making my submissions, we have a lot of ignorant people in this country. We have a lot of people who doesn't understand what governance is all about. So when you impeach the president and you come back to them and say, they removed me or they removed the president because of religious sentiment, you are feeding their sentiment. And having fulfilled that demand, they will rise up to the occasion. They will react. And when they do that, won't there be crisis? So that is why I say we have a lot of ignorant people in this country.
That put other interests above the interests of the country.
Because they don't even understand what is happening. They don't know where this government is going to, where the nation is going to. Nigeria is slowly
do they
becoming...
see the insecurity that is happening though? Do they see people dying? Do they see police stations being attacked? Do they see Boko Haram taking over territories? Do they see all these, or do they not care?
Now the question is, what sentiment do they attach to all that is happening? Ignorance works in pari passu with sentiment. And that is why impeaching the president now is not the best move for the nation.
Okay, Mr. Houston, do you agree that there's going to be crisis if we dare impeach the president now just because some people attached to the president are going to be unhappy with the move and they do not care about the killings going on? They do not care about whatever level the insecurity is getting into. Do you even think that's what it should be like? Or what do you think the cause is? That even if it has not happened, the National Assembly is already even scared because they are trying to foresee what could happen. Why is there a situation where this is all they can foresee? That if they move to do what they feel is the needful, but because of this small group of people, I would dare to call them a small group of people that could cause this crisis. Now the National Assembly's hands could be tied, and notwithstanding them even removing the president, notwithstanding the situation that the removal of the president will yield us a better nation if we have the right leadership in power.
Firstly, a lot of people's survival depends on the president sitting on that seat. There are lots of people who aren't necessarily doing much, but they're in this government just getting paid. What do you think those people will do if the president is being impeached today? They will typically go into, the rural areas and play the ethnic religious card that they've always played. They'll tell people it is Christian versus Muslim. It is the South versus the North. And of course, there's a lot of ignorance in the North. There's a lot of illiteracy. So what do you expect these people to do, the youth? They'll pick up arms and come against the people, the peaceful people who do not even have the same thoughts as theirs, or who are not of the same narrative that was sold to them. So I think basically it is calling for the president's impeachment is not a bad move, but at the same time, it's not a practical thing. It shouldn't even be conceived at this point in time because our problem is security, and you do not want to counter insecurity with insecurity, basically.
Oh, wow. I like that submission. So on Tuesday, Senator Smart Adeyemi made a very passionate call on the floor of the Senate to his colleagues and members of his party, the ruling APC, which the president belongs to as well, saying that it is time to put away politics, and call out President Muhammad Buhari over the growing cases of insecurity in Nigeria. So while he was still making this very passionate call, which went viral on the social media, Senator Remi Tinubu interrupted. Remi Tinubu is also a member of the APC. So she interrupted and asked him, and I quote, are you in the People's Democratic Party? That's the opposition, And she said, are you a wolf in sheep's clothing? Meaning you belong to this party which the president belongs to. Why are you speaking like you're an opposition, notwithstanding or not even caring about the state of insecurity in the nation, which this senator was addressing? Because at some point in time, what Senator Adeyemi is saying, we need to put away politics. We need to call a spade, which is the kind of Nigeria I yearn for, where people just don't say, oh, because I'm the PDP member, I'm just going to keep quiet on certain things. Oh, because I'm an APC member, even if the country is drowning, my mouth is sealed, I'm not saying anything. So what do you think about the call of Senator Adeyemi, being an APC member, but daring to call out his colleagues, to call out the president, considering the state of the nation at this point in time, putting away politics, putting away party affiliation, and saying, please, let's call out Mr. President to sit up and take very drastic actions. What did you think about what played out in the Senate, Barrister Prince? Yeah.
First of all, the call of Senator Adeyemi is an objective one. It is not marked with sentiments. He stated it clear that he is an APC member, but this is beyond political affiliation. This is an issue affecting all of us across borders. So the reaction of Honorable Senator, distinguished Senator Tinubu, to me, with all due respect, is an act of sycophancy. Yes, that is what it is. and it is bereaved of leadership qualities, which I keep saying that is the major issue. And what is the role of the Senate, if I may add?
Yeah.
I remember during the administration of Saraki, former Senate President of Nigeria.
Bukola Saraki.
Yeah, towards the confirmation of the former EFCC chairman. Because the Senate didn't confirm his appointment, he was never a substantive chairman of EFCC under the watch of Saraki. That is check. And that is the role of the Senate. So, if Senator Adeyemi, right, Senator Adeyemi comes up to say the president should come forward, should take positive steps to tackle this issue, I don't see any reason why someone would see that submission from a different view. Because to me, to all reasonableness, it is a sound submission. So I feel the actions or the reactions of Senator Tinubu is an act of sycophancy, and I think she is ignorant of her role as a senator.
Yeah.
Because if she understands the sanctity of her position, she wouldn't have made such submissions.
Just in case she doesn't know her role as a senator, can you educate Senator Remi Tinubu on her role as a senator?
It is very simple. The role of a senator is the same thing the House of Assembly members should do.
Yeah.
Check, promulgate laws for the people, not for themselves. And where the president is getting it wrong, they come in and check him, put him on check. And in a situation where the Senate president concurs to everything the executive does, then there is no check. Something is missing. And that is where leadership comes in again. I'll keep on saying it until the whole world hears me. The issue we have in this country is the issue of leadership. Because in leadership is all encompassing. Thank you.
Should it matter, because the way we have it right now, the members of the Senate or House of Reps are made up of different people from different political parties, which the president must belong to one of the political parties. And speaking on their roles, you said their role is to check the executive at some point where the executive is not in line. So should it matter? Because Remi Tinubu tried to make it seem like it matters what political party you belong to when you are sitting in either the red chamber or the green chamber. Do you think it should matter in terms of them carrying out their duty of checking the executive?
It shouldn't matter at all.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter at all. First of all, you are there to represent your constituency and Nigerians at large, not your political party. And that is where they are not getting it right. Once you step into that hallowed chamber, just know that the burden of the nation is on your shoulder. And the question you should ask yourself at every point is, what I'm about to do or what I am doing, am I doing it at the interest of my constituency and Nigeria at large? Not at the interest of your political party, your political affiliation, your personal sentiments. No.
Wow. Mr. Hisse, what's your reaction to the whole Senator Adeyemi, Remi Tinubu fiasco that played out? First of all, what did you think about the call by Senator Adeyemi, who is also an APC member, like the president, calling the president out?
It's good to know that a senator, a politician in Nigeria is beginning to wake up to reality, even though it took him this long to wake up to reality. You see, I told you some time ago, that the rain doesn't fall on one man's roof. Governor Ortom was attacked. Now, the senator is crying out. So you see, everyone seems to be petrified. Even the over-guarded politicians, they all seem to be petrified at the moment. So this is this is exactly what I've been saying. But then I think it's a good call coming from an opposition or coming from the ruling party. So it is a good one, a good call. As to the other thing, Tinubu's wife, I think I like what Remi Tinubu did. I'll tell you why I say I like what she did. I like what she did because it gave a lot of Nigerians who still believe in the APC as a party, it gave a lot of them, it was like an open, what do they call it again? It was like, an eye opener into what the APC is really about. The APC right now, with what she did, the APC is not so different from a cult, if you ask me. Because something that's affecting everybody, that affects the totality of Nigerians, is coming up from someone from the same party, someone from the same group as yourself. Yeah. And you're asking if he's of the other group. Like when this problem will come, it will only affect the other group. This is something that will affect everybody in this country. Or she thinks she's so powerful, she'll fly out of the country when it happens. I like the fact that she did what she did. And I know very well that she's not the only person. She's probably the first person who's doing it on film, on camera. Yeah. There are lots of them who have the same opinion, that they will shut up their mouths until their principal in Aso Rock says something. There's something called intelligent disobedience. Do you know guide dogs? There are dogs called guide dogs. They're usually in the US and some other developed countries in the world, where somebody who's old or who's blind or who's feeble, who can't really assist themselves, they have dogs that are trained to assist these people. Now, do you know now that these guide dogs, they do not obey every command, because there are some commands that might be detriment to their principals, survival or health or whatever. For instance, a blind man wants to cross the road and he says, move, and the dog refuses that command because he knows very well, he or she, the dog, knows very well that if they heed to that command, their subject will die, their master, the principal, will die. They refuse. That single act, or that singular act, is known as intelligent disobedience. You can all be in a party, say the APC, and if things aren't going well, it is your duty to Nigerians, just like Barrister Prince rightly said, it is your duty. First, before you became a party member, you are a Nigerian before anything. As a Nigerian, you're representing a people. It was your zeal or your will to represent these people that made you join this party, so you could do it in a political setting. Yeah. So you're representing a people, even if you're a party member. Your people should come to mind, the people you represent. He said something here and it made me laugh. He said, the burden of Nigerians lie on your shoulder the moment you see that you're in the hallowed chamber. I think in their own aspect there, it's the money of Nigerians lie in your pocket. It's not the burden of Nigeria lying on your shoulder. Yep. Because the thing is, a lot of them, I don't know if there's something about the National Assembly building. I don't know if there's something, I don't know if they put something there that hoodwinks them. But when they step in there, they forget their primary duty. They forget their primary assignment. These people represent Nigerians. But they seem, especially in this administration, they seem to hold on to the party closer to this party. Seems to be dearest to their hearts before anything, before anybody's cry or anybody's plight. So for what she did there was completely wrong. It was completely wrong, but I think it was very useful. I'm not saying what she did wasn't useful. It was useful to tell a lot of Nigerians who do not understand what the APC is about or what the APC has been about. So sometimes, I mean, like they say in English, they say even a broken clock is usually correct twice in a day. They say even crooked sticks draw straight lines. So some people might be useless to us. Some people might be useless to their constituencies. But trust me, there are times when they're useful. And that thing she did was a very useful thing to Nigerians. Nigerians who care to know, and Nigerians who will eventually get to understand that the APC is not necessarily there for anybody's interest.
Do you know, can I come in?
Yeah, come in.
Where I have my reservations, my friend had made a very, 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 very reasonable submission. In fact, he broadened what I said and threw more light to it. But where I have a problem is commending her actions. I understand the light you are coming from, right? But it is a serious issue. One, the senator in question has a lot of loyalists. So, having made that assertion and emphasized on it the way she did, what do you think the loyalists will do? You are strengthening the ignorance that has befallen us as a nation.
No.
I get you.
And it affects the growth of this nation.
But at some point, Nigerians, whether followers or whatever, are we not intelligent or wise enough to know right and wrong? Why do we have to... Everybody is seeing whatever is going on in the country. We are not blind. And it affects more of the rural areas more than these elites. So she can be there and not really feel whatever is going on. But you in your community, you know that you are seeing these attacks, you are experiencing the inflation, the high cost of fuel, high cost of electricity, the insecurity. You know, you are seeing all these things. Why do you need to follow somebody's lead for you to be able to know what is right or wrong? That's where I come in and I feel like we're in more trouble in Nigeria. Because Mr. Houston talks about education. We have schools, you know, and we have common sense. Apart from school, you have common sense. You know what is right, you know what is wrong. I don't want us to leave leave everything on these politicians that we just claim to be following. It's just like me. You go to a gathering, you go for one of these motivational speaking talk, whatever, you know, and the people are telling you whatever they're telling you there. You should still be intelligent enough to filter, to filter whatever is being said, to be like, oh, this is trash, oh, this one is right, I will follow this one and I can abandon this one. Do we just have followers? Follow, okay. Whatever.
Okay, you said something about education right now, that we have schools and we have all that. I've said this before, I'm saying it right now, I probably will say it again, but please, I would not want to say it again, hopefully. The Boko Haram that you have today, were they educated in school?
In their Boko Haram school.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was more or less informal education, but it was still education.
Yeah, still
fine. Some people will call it indoctrination. When they tell these people to pick up arms against their brothers because they're fighting for Allah, that's a form of education. So when I say education, most times it doesn't necessarily have to be schools. If you are educated in the north, if you are educated, it is your sole civil responsibility to teach. And when I mean teach, you don't have to bring textbooks. You don't have to speak English as big as mine or anybody in this world. It is your sole civic responsibility to break down the truth. I'm saying truth right now because truth is not relative. It's universal. It's a universal language. You know what the truth is. I know what the truth is. Even the person who is telling you lies knows what the truth is before he decides to tell you lie. Do you understand? So if you're able to break down the truth from the most, from the biggest vocabulary to the barest understanding, to the easiest understanding for these people to understand that, look, this is what we're going through. That's when we can actually have a better society. And that's what people should be doing. So when I say education most times, I'm not saying we should start employing teachers and all that. No. If you're educated, you're a teacher automatically. We credit Awolowo for being one of the first people to set free education in motion in this country. Do you know what Awolowo did? A lot of you do not understand. As someone who studied history, I was made to understand that Awolowo went to the schools, which he sponsored, by literally selling off cocoa in the southwest region. So that was actually a huge feat he was able to achieve. He went to the schools and told the teachers, some of them were white, some of them were black teachers who were opportune to school overseas and all that. He told them, he said, look, we will pay you. We'll pay you handsomely as much as you deserve. We'll pay you your due wages. But you know what you need to do? You don't need to teach these people just in English. Make them understand what you're teaching. I don't care if you have to teach them in pidgin, vernacular. Teach these people. So let me tell you, my brother, Awolowo made sure that people were taught chemistry even in Yoruba language. People were taught physics, even in Yoruba language. So what I'm trying to say is, by all means, you are able to tell these people the truth, because it's gone beyond just voter education. What we're going through right now, I'm not even thinking about voting. I'm not even thinking about 2023 right now. So tell them the truth. Your leaders are killing you. I see there are even Christians that give fast breaking meal to Muslims these days. It's a very good thing to do. But as you're doing these things, teach people. Even Muslims that give to Christians that are uneducated, teach the Christians to
leadership by
tell them
as well.
Tell them what the truth is, and that's what's important.
Anyway, let's move on to our final topic. So the striking Judicial Staff Union of Nigeria has condemned chief judges of states in the country for collecting luxury cars from governors as gifts, adding that such chief judges can no longer and do not speak the truth to power as a result of such gifts. So as we know right now, the judicial staffs, they are on strike. And one of the things they are striking about, or I think what they're striking about right now, is
Financial autonomy.
Financial autonomy. And what that means, they are calling for their payments, because wherever payments comes to them in forms of salaries comes from the state governors or the state government, and they don't want that. They are calling for their payments, allowances, and wherever to come directly from the National Judicial Council. So there is a situation where the chief judges are not speaking for them, because these chief judges, they claim, have been compromised directly or indirectly by the state governors who gives them official cars. Many times we watch on the news, we hear that the River State governor has bought Prado Jeeps or SUVs for all the judges in the state. They give them houses, they give them lots of money. So these guys are saying the judges cannot speak on their behalf in these instances where they are striking, demanding for full independence, because they feel the judges have been compromised. And we have cases of corruption as well, where most time judges are accused of being compromised, where politicians come to give them gifts, or sometimes they cannot really take actions against some of these big personalities because you've given them. And these gifts are not given in secret. They're actually given in open, So in reality, we don't see it as even bribery. But looking at it very technically, how do you hand me over this expensive stuff and you come and appear in front of me? It's going to take me having serious integrity to be able to do justice in that circumstance. So do you guys support this practice? Because it's a practice, where governors give out these gifts to these chief judges or the judges in their states? Or do you think we need to have a solid, independent judiciary that has nothing to do with the state government? That if such things even happen, we should see it as criminal. We should see it as bribery. We should see it as compromising. Do you think that we in any way help our judiciary to be more independent in their dispensation of justice? Barrister Prince, you're a lawyer. Yeah.
This issue affects me more than everyone on this table.
Yeah.
And I will want to be very careful and brief because of how sensitive it is.
Yeah.
But I just want to assert this old proverb: he who pays the piper detects the tune. So I believe wisdom will guide us on addressing this issue. So I want to say, if you want a free and fair judiciary, then there should be a high level of independence, financially and otherwise. That is still the point. And that is where I agree with this ongoing strike. So you can't come to my house and eat my food, bathe with my water, and then turn around to speak against me. Because you have compromised, I will always have a way to hold on to you. And that is what we are facing in this country. If you look at the judgments we've had over time, you will see a lot of lacuna, you will see a lot of error in the part of the bench in the dispensation of justice. And that is not the way forward for us as a nation. So I agree with the financial autonomy of the judiciary and strict separation without any form of interference, whether by gift or by good gesture of the state government to the judiciary or vice versa. That is the undermining principle of checks and balances.
Exactly.
And where this is compromised, we can't move forward as a nation. As a governor, as you're stepping into power, you start plotting how to win over the judiciary and to win over and the only thing that will come to your mind is financial gestures. But where there are strict principles limiting you, guiding you, I don't think we'll be having this issue. I believe Nigeria, we are supposed to be far above this level.
Mr. Houston, so do you agree that steps should be taken, very strict steps? You know, I don't just want it to be, everybody's saying financial autonomy. We know we don't easily adhere to rules in this country. So that's why I'm talking about criminalizing it.
Basically, I think if we're talking about receiving gifts from private individuals, it shouldn't just end with the judiciary. I think it's something that should be criminalized generally. It should be a holistic criminalization. If you are stopping judiciary from accepting gifts, I know some of them are happy about this and some of them are sad about this. I think every government worker, even civil service, shouldn't accept gifts from private individuals. I worked at the European Union, and that was one of the first things on our guideline while I was working in the European Union.
Though,
yes, I'm being realistic.
How will you stop government from accepting?
I'm being realistic, Sal. When you ask me if I'm being realistically, do you really want us to solve this problem? I'm being all of my ideas I prefer are realistic.
How do you stop a government official from receiving gift from a private individual?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, do you think you can actually stop a member of the judiciary from receiving gifts?
So right now, in terms of the governors, giving them these cars and giving them these houses and whatever, which is what they come to announce. We hear them announcing these things in public. We see them gifting these cars and whatnot. So we can actually control that one.
You can
if
control
you now
the public.
do it in private and we find out or we figure out. No, if we don't figure out, maybe at least they will not be able to come out in public right now to just buy cars or give houses to these judges. If you do it through a proxy, that's a different matter.
Our people have
but we can start somewhere. That's what I'm saying.
Our people have a proverb where they say, you cannot put honey on someone's tongue and the person will spit it out. See, firstly, I don't think you can stop anybody from accepting gifts, regardless of who gave the gift. It's the person's prerogative to decide whether or not to accept a gift. Now, even if you try to criminalize this, there are loopholes. There's always a loophole that this person could actually pull through. They could give it by proxy. They could drop it somewhere for the person to pick it up. If he picks it up, even if at the end of the day you realize it was dropped there by a governor, he could go to court with you and say he picked it up. So there's so many ways you could go back and forth with this. You can't stop anybody from receiving gifts. But my big question here are you asking this question as a means to bolster integrity in the judiciary?
Yeah.
Okay. I know there was a time where they said they had to increase their salary. It was going to help. That didn't help. We had the same issue with the police. The policing the other time, increase the salary to help. They should not take bribes. See, I'm not trying to encourage these things. But I see no possibility right now with the present structure in Nigeria. I don't see any possibility with regards to stopping a member of the judiciary from receiving gifts from governors. I don't think you can stop them. And even if you try to stop them constitutionally, if you try to criminalize acceptance or giving of gifts. I don't think it's. I just don't think it's feasible.
But do you think this financial autonomy that they're calling for, a strict independence of the judiciary, do you think if we achieve that, that would still influence the amount of justice that we get from the judiciary? Do you think so, that if they don't have to rely on the state governments, they now have to deal with the National Judicial Council, which they are actually supposed to be under? Do you think if they just have to deal with that body for everything, for their payments, for their allowances, for everything, do you think we'll have a stronger judiciary in the country?
Yes, I think we'll have a stronger judiciary.
You want to come in?
Yes.
All right.
Just like you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
My answer is on the positive.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
gifting of vehicles and other financial equivalents to judicial officials can be curtailed. It can be stopped and it can be criminalized.
Yeah.
A parastatal like EFCC, you can't go to EFCC and throw gifts
to the officials working
or
there.
the chairman of EFCC. So the same way we attach so much seriousness to that body, we can replicate it here.
We should even have more for the judiciary.
Because the judiciary is the last hope of the common man.
Yeah.
The judiciary is the access to justice, is the will, the engine room of every nation. Because justice is the minimum debt you owe to every man. And if you deny that man justice, you have declared him worthless. We are the custodians of the Constitution. We are the ministers in the temple of justice. And where there is an error in this aspect of government, then what are we doing?
Wow.
So we can achieve financial autonomy and also preclude the state government or the federal government from influencing the judiciary by way of gifting them things. If you give these people their autonomy, let them make out modalities on how to compensate or better their lives, increase their incentives. Then they won't need there won't be the need of the government to come and count it as part of his achievements as a governor, that he built houses for them. After all, the civil service, they already have modalities on how to better the lives of their officials.
Mr. Histon, you were laughing.
Have you ever heard of the saying, the typical Nigerian saying that anything that money cannot solve, more money can solve it, or too much money can solve it? Let me tell you, I don't think there's any Nigerian who thinks there's this much money that's actually too much for them or enough for them. Greed has always been there in Nigeria. I'm not here to advocate greed or to say or to show support for greed. No, but these are people who have seen money in the past we're talking about. Now you think that if you increase the allowances, just like we once thought police people will help the police integrity by increasing their allowances. We thought they wouldn't take bribes by increasing their salaries. But these people are still there on the streets taking bribes. Okay. You also said something about EFCC. You can't just go there. Haven't there been EFCC bosses in the past who were accused of accepting bribes?
Good. You've asked an important question. It was done secretly and it became a national issue because it is seen as an act of corruption, right? And that is where we need to get to.
Okay.
Criminalizing
it. So what you're advocating now is criminalizing it, not stopping it, because technically criminalizing isn't stopping it.
Criminalizing it is a way to stop it.
Stop it on film.
There will be some people that want to break.
That's stopping it on film, stopping it in public, stopping it from.
When we started this program, we said corruption cannot be wiped off. A lot of things, it can only be curbed. Yeah. And that is what we want to achieve.
Okay.
When you bring these excesses to its barest minimum, there will be a high level of orderliness in the system.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask a question. Do you see any difference in an officer, a director of a financial institution, sorry, not financial institution, a financial criminal investigation institution do you see a director receiving, do you see a difference in a director of such institution receiving money in his office or receiving 2 Prado Jeeps in his office as a gift? Do you see any difference between that and him receiving it somewhere in maybe Banex Plaza? Somebody says, those cars are for you, pick it up.
You're still saying the same thing. It is the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So you are talking about the location of where the
no, I'm only trying to tell you that you see. You don't. I said this before. You don't cut off the head of a yam and expect the body to taste like a potato. It's still yam, for crying out loud. All I'm trying to say is whether he receives it, he refuses to receive it because cameras are watching him and people are going to use it in his office against him tomorrow. It does not stop him from receiving it somewhere where the thing is packed and the keys are in there for him.
Right now, what we're saying, no matter how you receive it in secret, if we catch you, if we find out, we are not trying to make it a crime. That's what we are saying right now.
Okay, let me.
However you try to break whatever, but now we're trying to make it a crime.
Okay, let me.
What do you want to say as we round up,
Yes.
Barrister Prince?
I want to address your question.
Yeah.
Rape is an offense,
Yeah.
punishable by law, right?
Yeah.
And on daily basis, people are being prosecuted and convicted on the basis of rape.
Yeah.
But people still commit rape.
Yeah.
Would it be the same if we do not have laws fighting the offense of rape? So, if armed robbery is a crime, an offense, and there are laws to curb it, it doesn't stop armed robbery from going on.
Yeah.
But it reduces it. It curbs it.
Yeah. Criminalizing it reduces it.
And that is the point we are trying to make.
Yeah.
Government gifting cars and other financial gestures to judiciary should be stopped.
Yeah.
However, let their financial autonomy be ensured.
Yeah.
In that way, justice will be served, not just said to be served, but manifestly be served. That is the point we are trying to make.
All right, I'm just going to end it here. So thank you guys for joining us today. And thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to Page 36 TV on YouTube. Don't forget to like this video, share, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.